So while coming across Anglo-Norman period, we need to know that the Middle English period is between 1066 to 1558 AD when we take approximately. So this value will be fluctuating when we consider many other sources. Some will say it is 1500 up to that much Middle English period. Some will say 1550 is the maximum because like age of revival comes in 1550. But little bit fluctuation, like average approximate value we took was 1558. So 1066 to 1558 AD we can consider as Middle English period. So we need to note that this Middle English period is again divided into three sections. That means before Chaucer, which is from 1066 to 1340 AD approximately. Then comes the age of Chaucer. So Chaucer lived between 1340 to 1400, and then comes the age of revival, which is between 1400 to 1550 approximately. So we need to note that the period before Chaucer is called the Anglo-Norman period, which spans from 12th century to the middle of 14th century. So this before Chaucer period is called as the Anglo-Norman period. So we can make it as approximately from 1066 to 1340 AD. So now I guess all of you become aware regarding the exact position of this period. Now I need to note that this video is divided into four sections. So first we will discuss the historical background and language development during the Anglo-Norman period. So then we will discuss the cultural development and literary characteristics during this before Chaucer time period, and then we will come across the poets, and then we will discuss the major works during Anglo-Norman period. So when we consider the historical background, to begin with history, we need to know that during 1066 AD, William the Conqueror, who is Duke of Normandy, he defeated King of England Harold in the Battle of Hastings. So William the Conqueror is actually Duke of Normandy, and Normandy is in France. So he defeated Harold, who is King of England, and the battle is called Battle of Hastings. So this Battle of Hastings is a turning point for French people to invade Britain. So before 1066 AD we can see Anglo-Saxons were there. Battle of Hastings occurred in 1066 AD. So after that Anglo-Normans arrived Britain. So that's how we can say William the Conqueror started Anglo-Norman period. And regarding language development during this Anglo-Norman period, we can see that the language is actually a fusion of French and Old English. So that time French is called Norman French. So that was the official language because France became the ruler of England, we can say. So official language was Norman French, and this French language was mostly used by aristocrats during that time. And this Old English continued to be used by the ordinary people during that time. And we should also note that this French language was seen as little bit superior comparing to the Old English language. And we can see Old English and French. It is a fusion of Old English and French, and many new words were automatically added from French to English because of this French invasion. And the Norman conquerors spoke nothing but French, but actually holding Anglo-Saxon language in contempt. That way we need to understand. And we need to also note that most of the English words nowadays which we see are either taken from, or either it has roots in Latin or French. So Latin influence, how it arrived? Because during this Old English period or the arrival of the Celts, during that time there was a Roman invasion that took place. So during Roman invasion they tried to Christianize the complete Europe, and during this time many influences come into English language. That's how Latin influence came, and the French influence came because of Anglo-Norman period. So that is regarding the historical background and language. So now we need to come across the cultural development during Anglo-Norman period. So we need to know that there was an important religious war that took place, which is called Crusades War. It was actually initiated and supported by Latin Church in the medieval period and have the objective of recovering Christian holy lands from Islamic rule. So many of the eastern parts of the world were conquered by other rulers belonging to other religions. So these Christian people, according to them, many of the lands were holy lands in their Bible. So they had a purpose to retain those lands from the Islamic rule. That's how Crusades War started, and because of this war there was a benefit to the people of Britain. Because many of the people who went to the east during crusades, they came back with books and knowledge, and from the east they got this knowledge and books. Because of this, it resulted in the establishment of various schools and colleges across England, because they showed much interest of development of knowledge due to this reason, because they had got access to much of the knowledge and outside world. And until that time, only this clergy people and those people have the privilege of attaining this kind of systematic way of knowledge. So because of this reason, we can see Cambridge and Oxford, which were the two main colleges, they were set up during this time, and London became the educational hub during Anglo-Norman period. So main center of knowledge was London during that time because of this reason. And regarding literary characteristics during this time, we can see that the word order became uniform unlike the Old English language, and phonemes were also formed in the language. We will discuss regarding phonemes and other terms when we discuss linguistics in detail. So now we need to know that phonemes are distinct units of sound. So they were formed in the Middle English language, we should say. And the standardization of spellings also took place, and London language used in London became the standard dialect. That way we need to know. And regarding the literary characteristics, we need to note that there were three cycles of poems which were prominent. So the first is Matter of Britain, which include King Arthur and legendary stories regarding King Arthur. And second is Matter of France, which is actually Charlie Magne. His stories or poems were called in Matter of France. And third one is Matter of Rome, which is based on Alexander the Great and the Trojan War. These were the three cycles of poems which were prominent during Anglo-Norman period. And the themes of these works were mainly regarding adventure, pursuit of courtly love, knightly duties. We can see Arthurian legends, most of them will be familiar with. Now we need to discuss regarding the major poets or writers during Anglo-Norman period. So first we need to discuss regarding Geoffrey of Monmouth. So his important work is, we need to know it is very important, Historia Regum Britanniae, which is written in Latin. In English, Historia Regum Britanniae means the history of kings of Britain. Okay, and it contains the earliest version of King Lear. It is important point, and it also helped to popularize the legend of King Arthur, we should say. So earliest version of King Lear was also from this Geoffrey of Monmouth's Historia Regum Britanniae. We should know that. And another writer is Weiss. Weiss wrote Roman de Brut, and it is actually verse history of Britain and written in Norman French. Next writer is Layman. Layman's important work is Brut, and it is written in English itself. And the name Brut is actually named after Britain's mythical founder Brutus of Troy. Okay, so word Brut comes from Britain's mythical founder Brutus of Troy. We need to know that. And next comes an important poet called Pearl Poet. Actually, this is not the name of the poet. The actual name of the poet is unknown, and because of this, his poem Pearl, it is a famous poem written by Pearl Poet. So he is known to be as this name actually. So his four important poems we can see. Pearl, as I have already mentioned, it is about the dream of a father who lost his daughter. And next comes Purity or Cleanliness. It is regarding virtues of cleanliness of body and delights of married love. And then comes Patience. Patience is another important work. Its source is taken from Vulgate's Bible, we should know. And next one is very important work by Pearl Poet, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. It is actually a chivalric romance, and it is popularized by J.R.R. Tolkien. Okay. And we need to note that all these four poems by Pearl Poet were written in a single manuscript. Okay, so these are the important writers in the Anglo-Norman period: Geoffrey of Monmouth, Weiss, Layman and Pearl Poet. Okay, so now we are moving to the last section of this video lecture, which include the important works in the Anglo-Norman period. So the first and the most important work is Censure de Juste. When we come across Anglo-Norman period itself, this work should come to our mind, Censure de Juste. Actually, this is a French term which stands for Songs of Deeds. So what is Songs of Deeds? It is actually poetry written to praise nobles and knights who went to save their country. So these Arthurian legends all come under that. So Legend of King Arthur actually includes stories that revolve around King Arthur and his 12 knights. Most of them will be familiar with that. So they went on a quest to find the Holy Grail, and Holy Grail is actually bowl in which Jesus Christ had his last supper. So this 12 knights, they went quest in search of Holy Grail. That's how the story is. And we can say one of the knights fell in love with King Arthur's wife actually. So that way many issues occur and too many problems occur in association with that. That's how it is. And we need to know that many writers also spoke about these Arthurian legends, as we have seen in Geoffrey of Monmouth Historia Regum Britanniae. We have discussed it already. In that it is mentioned. And also we can see in Thomas Mallory's Le Morte d'Arthur or Death of Arthur. In that also this is mentioned. So that is about Chansons de Geste, which means songs of deeds. Next work is The Owl and the Nightingale. This is also an important work during Anglo-Norman period. And it is a debate poem, we can say, The Owl and the Nightingale. And the poem actually details two birds taking part in debate, and finally they approach Master Nicholas for solution. And this was also a net exam question also. Once it was asked during this debate poem, The Owl and the Nightingale, after the debate finally whom these birds approach. It is actually Master Nicholas. Okay. And this Master Nicholas is also not able to give a proper solution to that. So that kind of poem it is, The Owl and the Nightingale. And the third poem is, it is actually a Latin term, Cursor Mundi, and it means runners of the world, and it describes history of the world as described by the Bible. In a religious context, history is described, and man's redemption is the major theme. Okay. And it is divided in accordance to the seven ages of salvations, as mentioned in the Bible, we can say. And the next work is Ancrine Rivale. It is actually a prose work. We need to know that Ancrine Rivale is a prose work, and it is a guide for anchoresses. Anchoresses are actually women who devoted their life to God. Okay. So this is actually an anonymous monastic manual, this Ancrine Rivale, for female anchoresses, written in the 13th century. And this contains 8 parts, that we need to know that. And part 2 and 7 deal with the inner life of anchoresses, and other parts depict the outer life. So we need to know that Ancrine Rivale is an anonymous monastic manual, and it contains 8 parts written in 13th century. Okay. So that's regarding the important works during Anglo-Norman period. We have discussed Chansons de Geste, The Owl and the Nightingale, Cursor Mundi, and Ancrine Rivale. Okay. So this is regarding today's video lecture. So I hope that almost all the portions of Anglo-Norman period we have covered. So regarding more details and explanation, we will discuss it in our Telegram group, and there will be note sharing and question answer discussion too. Okay. So if you like this video, like and also subscribe to this YouTube channel, and also hit the bell icon so that you will be notified whenever we post a new video. So until we meet next time, goodbye and happy learning.